During the week of July 18, 2005, a group of community volunteers from Oakville, Ontario came together with their personal camcorders and spent some time videotaping the people, places, and happenings of the Oakville community. They came back with some fascinating pictures and wonderful stories. This is our town, Oakville.
Our Town Oakville has been made possible in part by General Electric, a proud employer in Oakville for more than 50 years, operates a world-class lighting manufacturing facility with more than 450 employees, creating products and services that make life better for you. GE, imagination at work. And by the Furniture Gallery, family-owned, fine-quality furniture since 1975. The Furniture Gallery, located in St. Catharines, North Service Road, beside the QEW. And by Meridian Credit Union. With their convenient online banking, 65 ABMs, and 43 neighborhood branch locations throughout Southern Ontario, they'll put a smile on your money. You can find out more at www.meridiancu.ca. And by the members of WNED. Thank you.
My name is Sherry Phillips, and I decided to do Prominence, Parks, and Playgrounds of Oakville. When we were trying to decide where to buy a home, we looked at the map of Oakville, and I was overwhelmed with the amount of green space that is actually here in Oakville and the endless amount of parks and trails and creeks. I found that we actually have a fair amount of promenades that are along the waterfront. What the promenades are is they're situated right inside of the subdivisions down on the water, and you sort of have to look for these tiny little paths, and you follow the paths down to the water. And some of them are probably only about a 2-minute walk, or they've put benches, or they're about the size of somebody's backyard property. So I thought they were unique in the sense that you were able to sort of get out of the subdivisions and away from the cars and be able to sit on these walkways. Lots of people walking their dogs and enjoy the water and the beautiful day. There was a lady that was down at the waterfront, and she had her golden retriever, and he, good Canadian dog, he had his hockey puck, and they were throwing it back and forth. Coronation is one of the largest parks here in Oakville. It is right down at the waterfront, sort of on the west part of Oakville. It's a unique park in that they have many festivals down there and concerts, but it's the only park I was able to find that still has sand, which is a dream come true for any child with a pail. And they have a splash park, and it's very common for people to be down there. There's lots of trees and breezes, so a lot of people have birthday parties. It's a great park because it's just got so many different things to do there. Oak Park it's very different from any of the other parks. It's actually a water reservoir in the north part. It's a common place for people to walk their dogs, and when I had the opportunity to visit it, there were kids feeding the ducks. Pine Glen, it is a very large park too. It has all of the soccer and baseball, but the splash park is fabulous there. It's a real active and well-used park. A lot of the parks are themed. I took some images down at Bronte Creek Park, and it's actually in the shape of a pirate ship. And then in the background, you have all the boats are docked there with the sails, so the kids can kind of imagine like they're standing on a ship sailing out to sea. It's the promenades and the parks and the playgrounds is where a lot of Oakville residents spend their time. And it gives them an opportunity to meet their neighbors and get to relax from the hustle and bustle of their jobs. I think that's what's unique, and how endless it is, and that the town has decided how important in the development of Oakville to actually have these green spaces to to make a lifestyle that is laid back and relaxed and a lot of fun.
My name is Lauren Griesbach, and this is Isabel Blackbird, and we did the Bronte Creek Provincial Park.
We chose this provincial park because it's one of our favorite parks to go to. There's just so much to do there. There's skating, hiking, swimming, and you just see all nature's beauty basically there. Well, as soon as you walk in to the right of it, there's a whole bunch of tanks set up. There's fish tanks, there's reptiles, toads inside them, and then they have it separated into different sections. The next room you go into is foxes are set up and just outdoor life. And they also have trail maps set up so you can see all the different trails that are at Bronte Creek. There's, what, 3 of them there?
Yes, there's 3 different trails.
And there's also a kids area in there, so if you were to have classes or any camp groups, you can go in there and play puzzles, games, and just do different crafts and whatnot.
There's a children's barn. It has farm animals that the children can feed and pet. The pigs were feeding. When we were there, they were just born in June, and the goats decided to start headbutting for us. And the kids really enjoy being able to feed the animals and pet them. There's a pool that's like,
It's
1.6 acres?
1.8.
1.8 acres, this big pool, and it looks like a mini lake. It's only about waist deep, so it's a good place for kids to learn how to swim. I remember trying to learn how to swim in this pool, and it's safe because there's so many lifeguards. They even have lifeguards out in the middle of this big pool.
One of the last attractions we had gone to was the Spruce Lane farmhouse, which was originally owned by the Becken family, and it's restored from the 1800s. And it was all set up just how it would have been back in the day. And so there's like the wood stove going.
They pretend, that they're from the 1800s, and they're dressed up in the uniforms, and it's really neat to see how they work.
And they also showed us the summer kitchen, which was used from April to October by the families back then, just so that it'd keep the rest of the house cool.
We saw the kids' bedroom with the cribs and their toys, and the guest room. They had a dresser it was actually from Sears, and it said that it was about $15 or $20 back then for this beautiful wood dresser, which nowadays would be a lot more. It was just really neat to see all the artifacts from the 1800s, and it, again, is a great learning opportunity for kids to come and see how families lived back then.
It's definitely unique because that's a time for families to share. Like, it's a family park, so it just brings them all closer together.
My name is Darren Arcarro, and I chose to film Sheridan Institute of Technology and Advanced Learning. Well, as an artist, I can appreciate all the art we have here, and I couldn't find a better school to go to. We are one of the largest art schools here in North America, if not #1. Former either students or faculty from Sheridan have worked on such films as Shrek, we have a few other ones, Shark Tale, Forrest Gump, and whether it's the actual animation or whether it be the film or sound effects that are worked on. Our Oakville campus here is mainly the arts programs, including media arts, film and television, theater. We have our fine arts, including illustration and animation. But we also offer many other programs here, such as police foundations, cosmetics. Interior design is, well, I guess it's a little bit of the architectural and the decorating, but more of the architectural side of interior design, as well as the furniture studio is part of our crafts and design program here at Sheridan. They study glass blowing, furniture, textiles, and ceramics here. Many students go during the day, they go to our pub, which is the Cage, or also there's many leisure areas around the school. We have a creek that runs right through the center of it and grass on both sides. So people, if it's a nice day, get the chance to go outside and hang out or study outside. We rent out usually actually year-round, mainly in the summer though. We rent out to also outside youth organizations and camps. And they come here and use our facilities, whether it's classrooms or for group activities. I think many people, when they think of Oakville, right away think of Sheridan College. We have people from all around the world that come here to study, and we're very versatile in that way, as well as our professors here that are teaching are in the workforce already, so they're teaching us very practical and skilled education here.
My name is Tobia, and I did youth activity in Oakville. So I just kind of wanted to show people that there is lots of stuff to do in Oakville for youth. One of the places was AMC Theaters, so it's just, I guess, a big theater chain. In that same complex, there's Rosie McGee's Pub. It's like a nice little Irish pub. So I don't know, sometimes I've gone there and I've had a drink and then gone to the movies. And then there's also volleyball courts in that area, the same area as AMC and Rosie McGee's. They have like a big courtyard area with 2 really nice volleyball courts. So you can call and reserve a court, and then you can go out, I guess, with a bunch of friends and play volleyball. Sharky's is one of the big places that I think people hang out at, and one of the big places Oakville is known for. It's a really, really nice place. It's huge. It's right on the lake, so we got a great view. They have a big patio at the top of Sharky's, and then there's a big staircase that goes down, and then a huge patio like down below. The putting edge, they have an 18 holes. It's a glow-in-the-dark mini putt, and it's just kind of a cool place to go. Prime time, it's more of a sports bar, and it's a nice place to go on Thursdays because there's sometimes not much to do. So yeah, it gets pretty packed actually, and it's a good time on Thursday nights. The Oakville Youth Center as well. That's more for, I guess, the younger youth, ages about 14 to 18. It's just a place for, I guess, youths to go. It's free admission. They get free food. They got like a big screen TV, pool table, like GameCube, internet access. So I guess it's just kind of a good place for youths to go and, I guess, stay out of trouble. What's so special with the Oakville skate park? Well, it's huge for one thing. It's free. You don't have to pay. It's outdoors, so it's not too hot. And it's just a really great place to go. They got tons of different terrain. They got kind of like a bowl area where you can skate vert. They have like a smaller terrain area for the beginner skateboarders, and then they have some more difficult obstacles like bigger handrails and ledges and stuff like that. A lot of people look at Oakville and they're just like, oh, this is this rich retirement town, but it's not just that. Like, it's still fun for people, I guess, my age and below and even above. So I just wanted to show that it wasn't just kind of this old folks town.
My name is Ellie Van Vliet, and the topic that I've chosen for the town of Oakville is the Kerr Street community and the volunteers in that community. Kerr Street Ministries helps to administer to our special needs people in the community. Our Kerr community houses or has professional servicing on a daily basis to the largest component of people with special needs within Halton region. And Kerr Street Ministries is just an excellent example of community partnerships. There are over 110 different organizations that are interlinked in the Kerr Street Ministries that provide food, shelter, support, counseling for people in the community with these needs and desires. And they just seem to realize that there's a need. They never ask what's in it for them. They just go ahead and do what they feel needs to be done to assist in the situation. And that doesn't matter whether it's residents or merchants in the community. No matter what we ask, we get support from the community. The Salvation Army has been on the street with projects and a store that enables people that are of lesser incomes to be able to purchase things that they need for their day-to-day existence and for their homes. The May Court, the IODE, Independent Daughters of the Empire, nearly new store, top to bottom, and then you get to the Lions Foundation, which has their head office is on Kerr Street, and that whole organization relies on volunteers, whether it be foster parents for the puppies, to people that work right in the facility, exercising the dogs, cleaning the dogs, feeding the dogs. It's just volunteer-oriented as far as their existence is concerned. The police department in particular has formed all sorts of community linkages and community partnerships over the years. One of the oldest that is established within the community is the Consultation Committee, and that is a civilian-driven committee with police input. You start working with people with special needs, you can't walk away. And I've told that to people that I've been asking to come and help to do with some volunteering at the various events that we have. And without exception, all of the ones that have volunteered and come out figuring it would be a short-term proposition, they're all back again and again to assist in any way that they can. I just really, really enjoy it. And I can't imagine working anyplace else. And being blessed and being able to be a village constable and to walk and interact and get to know the people and the families and, you know, all the people that come into the community and the merchants in the community, it's really gratifying.
My name is Suzy Godefroy, and I've chosen the topic of Oakville Museum at Erchless Estate. It comprises itself of the Oakville Custom House, which was the business for the shipping industry, and then the Oakville the Chisholm family home, Erchless Estate. And it's really symbolic of the beautiful lakeshore properties along Lake Ontario and Oakville. It's run by volunteers, and these volunteers are really dedicated to Oakville's history. They actually, many of them were active in preserving and saving Oakville Museum at Erchless Estate when it was sold to a private developer in 1966.
This particular building itself was actually used as a post office for only about 20 years. They needed one very, very early in the history here. Otherwise, you had to go up to what was the Governor's Road, quite a few miles north by horseback, and bring all of the mail back down.
When William Chisholm bought the 960 acres and was developing the harbor at Oakville, he hired Merrick Thomas to overlook the building of the harbor and also to lay out the town streets in Old Oakville.
The 4 acres of property surrounding Erchless and the Oakville Custom House is just a beautiful jewel of Oakville, and currently the Oakville Museum is restoring that property with a new garden, new wall, and hopefully one day we'll have an outside exhibit of the historic plants found on the property. I was featuring the Hands-On History Summer Day Camp program at Oakville Museum. It's one of the many educational programs offered for the residents of Oakville, and it's a wonderful program where your children can discover, explore, and learn on the banks of the 16-mile creek. It's Oakville's heritage. It's the beginning of Oakville. It's a jewel right on the Oakville Harbor, and it's really symbolic of what Oakville is.
My name is Chris Ramelan, and this is Justin Vandenberg, and we chose the John Colbourne Recreation Center for seniors.
When you walk into the center, you can really see the fun atmosphere of people, doing fun things, playing badminton, playing bridge, and it's basically like a social club where they can go and just and have a good time. One thing that I found rather astounding was that it only costs them $20 a year to be a part of this club, and to see all the different things that they can do and participate in for $20 a year, that was, pretty impressive. When we first walked in, it was badminton league morning, I guess, and there was about 20 or 25 people taking part in badminton, so that was a big thing there. There's also shuffleboard and snooker, which is a lot like pool. And there were a couple gentlemen that we met in there playing snooker, and they were showing us some shots.
They have art classes every couple of days, and they just have anywhere from amateur art to people that have been doing art for their entire lives. And
it's nice to see, obviously, when they go to participate in the different events and stuff, they see their work on the walls, so it's pretty cool.
They have computer clubs there, so if they have run into problems with their computers, they can go there. And the fact that they all seem to get along so very well, and they have their own groups of friends there that come regularly, I think that was one of the nicer elements of it. We had talked to some ladies and saying that they have, in the summertime, they have barbecues regularly. They have a wonderful kitchen where they serve sandwiches all year round, and in the wintertime they have soups and chilies and everything like that. So, and I mean, it's all run by seniors as well. So I mean, everybody that's doing the barbecue and everybody that's doing the kitchen is going to be a senior as well. So it's wonderful to see that too.
I think it's important to the community of Oakville just because of the different people that can come to this center and of various ages. I mean, it is a senior center. However, there was people there who were 50 years old and there were people there who were 90 years old. And to see them participating in all of these things I think it's just fantastic.
I couldn't be happier with what we chose. I really don't think that it's something that's often spotlighted, and I think that it really needs to be. It embodies the spirit of Oakville.
Yes, yes, very much so.
My name's David Jeffries, and I've chosen Lakeshore Estates and the Burl Oak Canoe Club. Well, there are probably about 40 to 50 estates in the Oakville area that were developed, mainly along the waterfront. This area was settled originally by farmers approximately 20 years before Oakville, and those historic farm homes, many of them still exist in amongst the estate properties. So when you do a walking tour of Southeast Oakville, you get a full range of very elegant farm homes, halfway houses and inns, and at the same time ranch and bungalows and various styles of architecture that have been done. Well, Edgemere is the estate of James Ryrie of Ryrie Burks. James Ryrie developed building in the arts and crafts style on the waterfront, large boat landing area, because at that time it was easier to come by boat than Lakeshore Highway, which was essentially a dirt road. He had acquired Japanese artifacts from the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904, and still on the grounds today we can see remnants of the original Japanese gardens that were there. At the end of Cox Drive is Ennisclair House. Herbert Cox's wife was from Penn Yan, New York, and she built the first part of this estate in the style of homes that are found at Penn Yan. And this was the center for a wide range of equestrian activities. People would board their horses here, so that down the road from that at Ballymena, they had the horse barns north. They're still in existence today. The last of the horse barns that you can find in Oakville along the Lakeshore Estates. The other major estate that's in this area is Gerlach. Gerlach was originally a farm of Richard Coates. Later, James Gardner acquired it, and it was given by the Gardner family to the town of Oakville, and which forms Gerlach Gardens today. And we can experience not only our current visual excitement and built form, but we can also experience a lot of the history that was here before.
Up, take it away together. Put it in and take it out at the same time as the person in front of you.
The second topic I chose to look at with Dennis Towell was the Burl Oak Canoe Club. When you're canoeing on the 16 Mile Creek in the deep valleys that are heavily treed and really inaccessible in no other way but by small craft and canoe, you're experiencing a very unique way of looking at the town. It's located right in the center of Oakville. This is where the original native settlement was. The cornfields were just to the north, and the burial ground for natives just to the south of where this club is located. Oakville, first of all, has quite a number of amateur and professional athletes and a number of Olympic athletes. Larry Kane, who competed in the 1984 Olympics in canoe, and Adam Van Couverton, who competed in kayak in the most recent Olympics. They are members of the club and an integral part of the club. Individual C1 kayak and C2 events are practiced there, and also kayaking, 1, 2, and 4-man kayaks. Then there is a very strong program in both the war canoe and dragon boat. Now these are really interesting events. They attract a number of adults. Canoeing is a tremendous Canadian experience, and the Burl Oak Canoe Club I think really reinforces all of the positive aspects of the sports.
My name is Julia Hanna, and the topic that I've chosen today is fine dining in Oakville. 22 years ago, there was, I think, about 7 licensed restaurants in the core itself. And the statistics I heard recently, in a 5-kilometer radius of licensed restaurants, there's over 70 now. I often, when I travel, will go into towns with just over 100,000 people, never finding the variety of retailers and the variety of restaurants like Oakville. Paradiso is obviously a little bit near and dear to me. I started Paradiso in, oh my goodness, I think it was 92 or 93, and it was a Mediterranean concept. And in 93, I mean, couscous was, you know, it was just sort of coming into its own. People were starting to explore Moroccan cuisine. They wanted to know about Spanish cuisine. And Mediterranean food, you know, just allowed you to just do all of that and still allowed me to, you know, practice my favorite all-time food in the whole world, which is Italian food, of course. And that's because, obviously, I'm Italian, and what choice would I have, right? Restaurante Giulia, we've combined Latino, South American, and Italian. And the complexity in doing that, I mean, it was a challenge because they're both very passionate cultures. And one thing we don't do is we don't mix the two together. My brother-in-law, Michael, and my sister own Twisted Fork. It's a beautiful place. It's down on Bronte. And Oakville, as I'm sure now you're well aware, is divided into 2 beautiful harbors. There's a harbor in the east and there's a harbor in the west. And the Twisted Fork sits overlooking the beautiful harbor on the west. Tammy and George are just the most dynamic couple you could ever meet. The energy they have astounds me sometimes. They are 2 of the most committed restaurateurs I have ever known, and they are loyal. They are so loyal to their guests, and their guests are loyal to them. After 22 years now, I'm serving the kids of the parents and their, well, if I start getting into their kids, I'm really going to be depressed, but I'm pretty close. And you know, you're the second generation, and they're coming as part of that sort of continuation, so that you feel as if the effort that you put in, it's not for naught, as the British would say, it's for something, because you see that it continues through. And even if they move on, and when they return, they come back. So the connection never stops.
My name is Abdul Rahim Bangura, and I chose business in Oakville. I chose this topic because I'm very interested in business, especially where I live. I've seen a lot of different businesses in Oakville. It's a nice town. A lot of business owners have homes here, so it's a lot easier to go from their business to their home. I saw a lot of commuters coming from work from Toronto, coming to Oakville, and I shot the sign of the GO Transit. It's a really big business in Oakville because a lot of people use it a lot of times. They would park their cars and take the train to Toronto to work and come right back to Oakville. The thing that caught my attention was I like a lot of Ford cars, and I never knew it was located in Oakville. When I moved there, I seen it, I was like, wow, their headquarters is in Oakville. There's headquarters of Tim Hortons in Oakville, Wendy's headquarters is in Oakville as well, right by the Whitecroft. And also there's many corporate centers like the Oakville Corporate Center. The signs that I saw in the corporate center, I saw the Ford dealership, Future Shop Center, the Winners, and all the other offices. Well, business in Oakville is really important because that's what brings a lot of economic into the town. And it shows that Oakville is a positive community. It's about family, and a town that's known for maybe one of the richest in Canada. So it would make sense for businesses to stay here.
My name is Amanda Lee Gaffar, and I've chosen to focus on the social services in Oakville for our town. Social service agencies is a vital component of Oakville because there's such a portion of Oakville that needs the help, that needs the assistant. Oakville has, a very wealthy side to it. However, there are, new immigrants coming into the country that move to Oakville, and there's housing that's available for them. There's social assistance, these clothing depots, so all sorts of things that can help them get their feet on the ground and build their families and generations to come. The IODE offers several forms of assistance in the form of bursaries, scholarships, and they also hold fundraisers in addition to their used clothing outlet. I can go there with $20 and literally come home with 2 outfits, 3 outfits, designer clothing, and some of the things have never been worn. The Oakville Peace Center is an agency that is on Kerr Street, and its focus is on peace and peace initiatives, like helping the environment, helping make the environment better. If you go to the Oakville Library, you'll notice they have a community information section. And here you will find everything that you need to get you on the right track, whether it's with your business, whether it's with finding a job or gaining employment experience, or you need counseling of some sort. It's all provided. All the information is there. Human Resources Development Canada, they offer computers free of charge. You can go in there and they have free photocopying, free fax machines, all of these services you can go to. If you don't have the means at your home, you can go to the Human Resources Development Center and find the help there. There's so much at hand that helps young people get to where they want to go in life.
My name is John Adams, and my topic was Shell Skate Park. Personally, I like skateboarding, and I felt not that many people in Oakville knew about this park, and it's a great place to hang out with your friends, great atmosphere, it's just fun. It's not like soccer or something, like you don't have to have a big group of people. You can go up by yourself if you want to and just flow with everything. Well, there's like ledges you can grind down, there's boxes, there's rails, lots of quarter pipes. Those are fun to play around on. There's little benches and kickers and stuff. Fun. There's 2 regulation and rule sign, like children under 13 should have a helmet and have a parent or guardian watching them and stuff. Lots of stuff to do there for biking, rollerblading, and skateboarding. There's families that are hanging around, watch their kids skateboard or bike, and there's a playground not far away, like you can see it from the park. There's like a little concession stand, maybe a 2-minute walk. Probably more bikers there than skateboarders because there's like, they love the quarter pipes in the little bowl area on one side. And all the ramps just set together well for bikers. They go over the ramps, clear a little gap, and onto a quarter pipe or whatever. My favorite thing to do in the park is probably play around in the bowl, do like axle stalls and blunt stalls and stuff. Not enough people in the community know about it, so maybe this show will open it up to the community more. I don't really care if I'm that good, it's fun to hang out with my friends and play with all the opportunities they have there for free.
My name is Elizabeth Camps, and the topic that I chose is the Bronte Butterfly Park. Well, it's a new area that we're trying to develop. It's going to be absolutely amazing for residents as well as people coming to visit in the Bronte area, because they'll be able to see about the butterflies in their natural habitat. Well, we're still trying to raise funds for the park, and it's ongoing, and hopefully we've had some provincial grants, and we're getting private donations, but we would like to have it up or opened by 2006. The The park is completely opened. It's not enclosed. The butterflies migrate every year from here down to Mexico, and then they come back again. So it is a very interesting journey, and it sometimes is 3 generations of butterflies in 1 year, but will come back on a continuous basis. So, but they come back because of certain flowers and vegetation, and the more that we have, the more we will be able to draw them back. The school children will be able to come down to the park and see, so when they're taking it in their course, they can actually come down and see the habitat of the butterflies. It's unique because nobody else has a park like this and one that's going to be opened all year round and have something going on all the time. It's important that we maintain a good habitat for them, that they can continue to grow. And why not reside in Oakville?
My name is David Moses, and the story I chose to do was Oakville soccer. The first thing that came to mind was an article I'd seen in one of the local papers, the Oakville Beaver, and that had to do with soccer, Oakville soccer, and a new stadium possibly being built for the 2007 FEMA, which I believe stands for the Fédération de Football Internationale. The city was behind it, the Oakville Soccer Club was behind it, and also we just got a new professional soccer league here in Oakville, the Oakville Blue Devils.
Hey, come on! Turn. Quickly, get out of them, come on!
And the Oakville Blue Devils were actually Toronto Lions, and they'd moved here this year. And I spoke with the coach about that, and he said it was long overdue because Oakville is such a huge soccer town. That's another reason for the idea of building a stadium here.
Let's get out, go help him!
I just think the community is a soccer-driven community. There's people in Oakville from all over the world, and so the interest is very, very high. There's a biggest per capita participation in Oakville than any other town in the country, so it's just very strong. You drive around Oakville any given day and it seems like every blade of grass there's someone playing soccer on it. So they've got a great program from the young 5-6-year-olds right through now to the pro level, so it's a hotbed of soccer for sure, and it's just growing. It's just it's incredible.
That's the way, Jake! Woo!
And you'll see a lot of parents lined up on the sides with their chairs, and they really take pride, I think, in watching their kids play. It's interesting after 2 years of watching these kids play because you just have to stand back and just shake your head in awe of these kids because they show such promise. You really get a sense that, wow, this is a great opportunity for these kids. The Oakville area has a huge amount of kids that play in the soccer league here in Oakville. About 10,000 kids play. It's the largest in Canada, and it pretty much dwarfs anything else that I understand in the country. It certainly is a big part of what makes Oakville tick, and probably will continue to do so for quite a while.
My name is Kelly Margulies, and I chose to do summer nights in Oakville. Summer is a very busy time for Oakville. Downtown, there are a lot of festivals and events that they do put on for the summer. There's a lot of companies that have been in business for years and years downtown. It kind of preserves our heritage, and it's just a unique piece of Oakville. It's not all Oakville has to offer. You get that small town feeling that I'm sure it really was years ago. Now we have expanded. There's a lot of growth in Oakville, but it does keep that component of the small town. It's very nice. It's clean. They always have a downtown in summer, beautiful baskets of flowers everywhere, and it's actually a nice family place for people to take a stroll in the evening with their kids and the dogs and have your ice cream cone. And particularly there's a town square, which is actually right near the Green Bean Cafe, which is a green area with a little water fountain, and there's a town clock, which is beautiful. And it's a nice gathering spot where families can, hang out, and there's always a nice breeze off the lake. So even on the most hot and humid days, it's a nice place to be in the evening. Various restaurants at times will have musicians play either inside or in outdoor cafes. And specifically, I did film a group, Sandra Margulies and the Oakville Jazz Ensemble, at the Green Bean Cafe, downtown Oakville. And it's a little coffee shop with desserts, and outside they had them perform one night. There's an intimate feeling to being downtown, and you do feel if you're down there enough, people do know who you are, and if you work down there, they know you. Yet it's diverse enough that you can find anything you need downtown.
My name's Chrystal, and I covered Sharky's. It's been around since '83 as Sharky's Restaurant, Cafe, and Lounge, and I recently joined the team to take part in celebrating their last summer season. There is going to be a 12-story condo unit actually standing in its place not long from now. People of all ages have passed through Sharky's at one point in time. Older people know Sharky's as a place called Riverside. It's located downtown Oakville on the harbor front. Boaters can pull right up to the dockside at Sharky's, tie their boat up, and come on in. You can get a nice quiet table, or you can go in a different area of Sharky's, because what's so special about Sharky's is it has three main areas. One is the large patio located right along the waterside. Then upstairs we have the restaurant called the Dockside area, that's where the DJ comes in, where we have a dance floor. There's a large bar, there's an inside dining area and an outside dining area, and then we have a upscale lounge. We call it the Q Lounge. There we have a large bar, and we also conduct many events, and such as retirement parties or corporate parties we do in the Q Lounge. Sharky's has a variety of things on the menu, from curry dishes, West Coast inspired foods with very nice spices, great choices of salads. We have a cedar plank salmon that's quite delicious. I captured some footage of a big party called the Molson Rockstar Party. Sharky's is the perfect blend for the old, for the new, and it caters to all in that aspect. But Sharky's will be reopening, believe it or not, at a different location in Oakville. So I hope that it can be just as good as this Sharky's.
My name is Tom Barker, and I've chosen to focus on leadership in Oakville. When I heard about this project, I became interested in the idea of perhaps featuring leadership. It's something that we don't see visibly around us, but it's a very, very important facet of a community working effectively, and in fact organizations working effectively. There are a variety of kind of avenues which lead to the development of leadership skills in young people. There are local firms who provide part-time work opportunities for people that involve training and involve development of elementary leadership skills. So all of those kind of programs help to develop the innate leadership skills and abilities in people, both by role modeling and mentoring of the people who are teaching them, but also putting them in situations where leadership's required, and they're required to act in a certain way. And a particular program I'm involved in is with the United Way here in Oakville, who have an initiative to provide leadership development opportunities for the agencies that they fund. One example of something that we achieved as a community that's a real asset, local community leaders saw to it that there were hiking trails planned out amongst the through the development areas and through the 16-Mile Creek, which is a famous kind of beauty spot in the area. It's a real treasure, and there are miles of trails that were laid out on the plan and over the years were built, and that money was raised by community leaders, and they saw to it that the job was done properly, and it's now a real asset that many people in Oakville can enjoy. And that's just one example of the kind of thing that doesn't happen unless people think long term, unless people actually champion causes that are to the benefit of the community.
My name is Steve Margulies, and my topic for Oakville, Our Town, is the Glen Abbey Golf Club and the Canadian Golf Hall of Fame. Back in 1976, Jack Nicklaus designed Glen Abbey, and that was his first golf course that he designed. And it hosted its first Canadian Open in 1977, and for all but 1 year of the next 20 years, it was the host. Jack went on to play in the Canadian Open at Glen Abbey and had played in it previously. Never won the tournament, but he was runner-up 7 times. The course is situated in the heart of Oakville. The unique aspect of Glen Abbey are the 5 holes that are in the valley. Wow. Most of the course is a parkland style course, but once you tee off on the 11th hole, you start an amazing chain of holes, probably among the toughest 5 holes on the PGA Tour. And picturesque is certainly a great description. Back in 1994, during the Pro-Am at the Canadian Open, John Daly hit a tee shot into the creek, which is 390 yards away. There's a plaque just outside of the tee box commemorating that hole. The 3rd hole is a par 3 over the water, which is one of the signature holes. In addition to that, the 18th hole is one of the famous holes at the Canadian Open and at Glen Abbey. Back in 2000, Tiger Woods hit what they call the shot, and Tiger was 218 yards away in the bunker. He hit a 6-iron out of the bunker and stuck it to about 20 feet on the back of the green and made birdie and won the Canadian Open. The Hall of Fame is set up like an 18-hole course. As you tour through, if you take a walking tour through the hall, it starts at the 1st hole, which traces the roots of golf and takes them back to their Scottish origin. The 2nd hole talks about the origins of golf in Canada, and so on from there as you head through the 18 holes. There's some history of Canadian golf, history of the golf ball.
Leather stuffed with feathers. The feathers would be boiled, so they were wet. The leather would be soaked. They'd be stuffed together, sewn shut. The feathers would swell as they dried, and the leather would shrink as it dried, and you'd end up with a relatively hard sphere. And they used those for the first 300 or 400 years of the game being played. That Olympic trophy was won in 1904 by George S. Lyon, a fellow from Toronto. It was the last time golf was played as an Olympic sport. They tried to play in 1908, but the U.S. and Brits were having an argument about the rules, so they didn't show up, so the game was abandoned.
If I asked somebody, or I told somebody who lived, in another country or on another continent, they said, "Oh, tell me about Oakville." Well, I talk about golf, and I talk about the Abbey, and I talk about the Canadian Open, because that's what it really means to me. That's probably what we're most famous for here in Oakville. It's part of our identity here in Oakville is golf.
My name is Janessa Lafleur, and I covered arts in Oakville. Well, it's a small group of mostly adult poets who are either trying to be published or working on their own poetry, and they meet once a month just at a coffee pub in Oakville and share their poetry, their stories, any news that's going on, and it's quite a little event. They just sit around and chat and have a good night.
Within the heart, the plaintiffs dance. They whisper softly of romance.
From deep inside the rock, where gods transform the best of life for earth's display.
Oakville Wind Orchestra, I didn't even know about until I did this project, and apparently they do concerts in the summer. Now it's no strings, it's all wind instruments, so basically woodwind brass percussion, but nonetheless it's a great concert and the sound carries and the venue is just beautiful. It's really casual, really fun, and they play all sorts of music. I mean, they play music from Dvorak, who's some serious symphonic instruments. They played themes from Wizard of Oz and other fun, just TV music too. So I think it's a great family way to get music out into the community. Yeah, there's the Festival of Drama, the RBC Festival of Classics, which does 2 shows throughout the summer. One is Midsummer Night's Dream, Shakespeare, and the other is Goodnight Desdemona, which is another classic. And it's in Coronation Park and just among the trees and outside theater. It's really brilliant, and it really is something that I think captures the summer soul of Oakville's parks. A lot of the music schools around here also have a rock band program, so they'll have the classical training on piano or guitar or voice, but they'll also do some fun things like rock bands. So I went to this one rehearsal and they were working on Wild Thing.
Perfect.
Fleming School, it actually started out as Fleming School of Dance, and recently they've changed to Fleming School of Performing Arts because they also have included, I believe, a music theater program as well as some other performing arts programs, but they specialize, I believe, mainly in dance. I filmed at West End and West End Studios, and they had a summer day camp going on for young children. I mean, they were probably about 9 and 10 years old, doing skits and doing different activities, just working up their performance skills as well. I was aware of the Oakville galleries, but they're sort of scattered all over. There's one downtown that I visited, another one on Kerr Street that I didn't get to go into, but made note of. So it's kind of interesting how art is really being spread all over, not just within the galleries, but in sort of all spheres of the community. It's nice to look around and see other people of all ages getting involved in either drama or music or art or dance or poetry. It's really exciting, and I think it really enriches the life of a community.
Our Town Oakville has been made possible in part by General Electric, a proud employer in Oakville for more than 50 years, operates a world-class lighting manufacturing facility with more than 450 employees, creating products and services that make life better for you. GE, imagination at work. And by the Furniture Gallery, family-owned, fine-quality furniture since 1975. The Furniture Gallery, located in St. Catharines, North Service Road, beside the QEW. And by Meridian Credit Union. With their convenient online banking, 65 ABMs, and 43 neighborhood branch locations throughout Southern Ontario, they'll put a smile on your money. You can find out more at www.meridiancu.ca. And by the members of WNED. Thank you.